more bad news for air travelers. Spirit Airlines announced today it will charge up to $100 for a carry-on. So in a world where everything seems to cost extra on airplanes, some people are arguing that overweight passengers should cough up cash for packing their extra pounds. ABC's Juju Chang brings us the great weight debate.
My hands are clammy.
Why?
It just happens. I just find myself getting anxious as I get closer
To the airport. Kenley Tigeman is doing something she absolutely dreads.
Is it possible to change my seat so that I'm not sitting next to someone? Okay, and this is an Embraer, right? So we're looking at 18-inch seats?
Right.
If I recall. Okay, perfect.
She's about to catch a flight home to New Orleans. She says she only became a nervous flyer last May when she was humiliated by a Southwest Airlines gate agent.
The gate agent came up to me and he asked me how much I weighed, what size clothes I wore. He said that I was too fat to fly, that I would need an additional seat, and he was really just sort of crass throughout the whole thing. There was no privacy. He didn't know what his policy was, so he actually brought in a supervisor as well who didn't know.
Kenley is a weight loss blogger who is suing Southwest, not for damages, but to force them to spell out their policies.
What's most important to me is consistency. I want to know what I have to pay. I'm not opposed to paying more if you tell me what I have to pay and I know at the point of purchase.
Her crusade is just a small part of what feels like a war that's erupted between the airlines and their passengers over charges from everything like pillows and blankets to excess baggage and excess body weight. And that's led to a fierce debate among passengers over who should pay for what. Just today, Spirit Airlines announced that passengers may have to pay up to $100 for their carry-on bag. So a skinny person weighing 150 pounds might have to pay an extra $100 to check a 50-pound bag, while a bigger person weighing 300 pounds and no bags doesn't have to pay any extra at all. But if you weigh more, should you pay more? It's a simple but inflammatory question raised by this mild-mannered professor named Peter Singer.
It's not about treating obese people badly. It's about people paying for the costs that they are imposing on the airline or in general. I mean,
we reached him via Skype in Australia because it turns out Singer is a mega commuter. He teaches bioethics at Princeton, but he lives all the way in the outback of Australia. He thinks on a flight from, say, his home near Melbourne to New York, an obese person should face a roughly $30 surcharge.
Buses and trains may have to provide wider seats. Hospitals have to have stronger beds. Even they're having to have extra large refrigerators for their morgues. So it's not hostility to obesity. It's why should other people who are lighter be subsidizing those who are heavier?
There are plenty of people who like Singer's idea.
If I pay for my seat, I want my whole seat.
Like Mimi Roth, the founder of National Action Against Obesity.
I don't want the person next to me on top of my seat or coming underneath the armrest because I've paid for my whole seat. It's nothing personal against them.
What happened to humanity? These are people. These aren't durable goods being shipped from point A to point B.
Brandon McSada is an advocate for passengers' rights who has also become a leader in the fat acceptance movement.
Why not make a couple of extra seats a little bit larger?
We brought Brandon and Mimi together for what started as a very civil conversation.
The airline industry is an industry. It's a business, not a charity. Unlike race or sexual orientation, obesity is not innate. It's actually, in almost all cases, a result of lifestyle choices. So nobody's forcing someone to become obese, and they're also not forced to fly on airlines.
But this subject makes people on both sides of the aisle very angry, very quickly.
If you have humanity in you, you should do everything in your power to prevent anybody else from becoming obese.
And if you have humanity in you, you should not judge somebody simply because they're different.
What the hell are you talking about? When have I ever judged anybody because they're different?
You just said suffer. How do you, you're basically saying because somebody's fat, they're suffering.
Okay, let me stop.
You're Brandon, you're driving me nuts.
Let's just lower the room temperature for a second. I don't know about you, but I can't stand taking my shoes off at the airport. The idea that I'd have to get on a scale at the airport is...
I don't think that they would implement that in that way. They weigh your bags and you don't see how much they weigh.
But that's a bag, it's not a person.
They are building one-size-fits-all airplanes, and people are different sizes. 30% of our nation is obese.
And while Kenley says she does not advocate obesity, she just doesn't want every trip to the airport to fill her with dread.
Thank you.
For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in New York.
Whoa. Well, Southwest told us they, quote, approach the situation as discreetly as possible. If providing the extra seat doesn't result in having to deny another customer boarding, we refund the ticket at no charge, which happens more than 90% of the time.